Hey guys, happy Super Bowl Sunday. Hope you're having a fantastic day hanging out with your friends and family, watching the game if that's what you're into. Today we're going to be actually talking about a Super Bowl related story because you know what we all watch the Super Bowl for? For them to tell us how to think and feel and how to treat other people, right? Crickets? No? Okay, that's not what we watch the Super Bowl for. Yeah, I think they're finally recognizing that, maybe, because we have this headline up. Now, this is pissing off people on the left. People on the right are celebrating it. It says the NFL is removing end racism from its Super Bowl end zone. And if you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're doing this. They were really doing work to end racism by having those words there. Boy, do I have some words for you. Now, if you are thinking, what the hell is even going on? I didn't know that the NFL was working on ending racism. Well, take a look at the Kansas City Chiefs field, okay? Now, in 2020, the words end racism were added on the field, and I think you can guess why. This is on the heels of George Floyd's death, and of course, all the protests and riots that happened after that, all the DEI initiatives that are suddenly infiltrating every single facet of our society, and sports was no exception to that. So the NFL had this sort of Inspire program, you'll have to look up the name of it. It's something like that, where they went full force into these diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. And one of those initiatives was to put words at the end of your field, at the end zone, that represent these initiatives and how we want people to treat each other. You'd see things like choose love or stop hate or end racism, as you see on the Chiefs field here. Now, they've had this since 2020, but now they've removed end racism, and it's no longer on their field. I believe for the Super Bowl, it's going to say choose love instead, which just eye roll for all of this stuff. When was the last time that you guys looked to these sporting industries to tell you how to treat other people? And if you are a racist, do you think you're chilling watching the NFL? Do you think you're chilling watching a bunch of black millionaires, run across the field, a bunch of people of color and white people coming together collectively as a team to achieve something and get something done? Probably not. Now, I'd venture to say there are a few racists who are really interested in football, but I don't think they're highly motivated by the phrases at the end zone. I don't think they're reading end racism and going, you know what? I hated black people before I saw that phrase. And now that the Kansas City Chiefs told me that racism needs to end, I'm going to rethink my racial outlook. I don't think that has happened ever. Not once. In fact, I think it's quite the opposite, the effect that these words have on people. There's a billboard that's in LA, and I don't know if it's still up, but for the majority of the time that I've been here, you'll go on a casual drive and you'll see this billboard and it says something to the effect of like, stop being racist or don't be racist, something like that, just in big, bold letters. And you know what pops into my mind every time I see that billboard? Slurs. I'm sorry. But I don't identify as racist. Although I'm sure some of the left-leaning people who watch this program might identify me as a racist. But when you get told just so boldly not to do something, it almost makes your mind go in the opposite direction, whether you like it or not. It's kind of like when you're a teenager and you're at home alone and you're thinking, oh my gosh, the dishes aren't done. I'm gonna do something really nice for mom and dad, and I'm gonna do the dishes. And then right before you go to do them, you get a call from mom or dad, and they're like, hey, can you do the dishes? And you're like, now that you say that, I'm gonna not do them even harder. It kind of feels like that. And of course, they're changing the end racism to choose love. To be honest, I don't need to be told either of those things. I don't need to be told to stop hate. I don't need to be told to end racism. I don't need to be told to choose love. Why don't we just leave it blank and allow people to come to their own conclusions? Why not put something like go team? if you're gonna have words in the end zone. Now, Bill Maher ended up discussing this on one of his recent shows, and we're gonna watch the clip and see how that discussion goes over. Because his audience is hit or miss on these types of things, but he's been making some good points recently.
Yeah. I noticed that at the Super Bowl, for the first time in I think 4 years now, the Trump administration is making them take away end racism, which they had written in the end zone. Right.
Now, just a note here, the NFL adamantly denies that the Trump administration is making them do this. And this has been a topic of discussion because Trump is going to be at the Super Bowl today. They say that this has nothing to do with Trump being there. Who knows? But just to fact check Bill Maher.
Right.
And why? It just seems silly. I
To
mean,
do it or not to do it?
why get rid of it?
Oh, I could tell you why.
I know, but it's just like you're
Because it was stupid to begin with.
Yeah, but it's
Let me ask you, who's it for? And
Good question.
if you're a racist and you see end racism in the end zone, you're going to stop being a racist?
But the sentiment is basically like, don't be an asshole.
But I think it's an asshole to nag us during a football game about something that doesn't change anything or any. If I'm not a racist and I see it, it doesn't matter. And if I am a racist, it's going to make me more of a racist.
Like, I think if you write "don't be an asshole" in the end zone, everybody will agree with that.
The problem is, we all think the other guy's an asshole.
And no one thinks they're a racist.
Okay, guys, here, just a thought. Maybe we don't need to tell people what to be and what not to be ever. Maybe we can just allow people to be themselves. And, you know, if somebody happens to be a racist, I feel like society will deal with that in a natural way. Instead, what you have is the NFL, the Super Bowl, which is almost inherently anti-racist. The leftists are going to love this argument. It's people of all different backgrounds, of all different races, and they're all elites. They're all majorly successful, making millions of dollars. They come together to play on a team to achieve a common goal against the other team. And we all watch as Americans who are from different backgrounds, of different race, of different social status and economic statuses. And we come together on this day to just enjoy something that is inherently anti-racist. Yet these entities that are making far much more money, they are elite, they are above us, we are actively funneling to them all of their revenue, giving them all of their income. They feel the need to look back at us as viewers and tell us what we should think and how we should feel, and especially to give us a message as basic as end racism. How stupid do you think we are? How morally bankrupt do you think we are as an audience that you need to tell us in your end zone to end racism? It just doesn't make sense to me. And it doesn't make sense that now they're even, changing the words. Now it's going to say choose love. Arguably that's better than end racism. But my goodness, do we not need to be told any of these things? Just leave it blank. Let the American people deal with things the way they deal with them. Let them come together on Super Bowl Sunday and have a good time and cheer on their team and cry when they lose or whatever it is that people do on Super Bowl Sunday. I've got to say, this is the first time I'll ever be watching the Super Bowl, at length in its full sense. So, I have a feeling that racism is not one of the primary issues that the NFL is dealing with or that the American people are dealing with. And you can have your moment, if you're a player who wants to kneel during the national anthem and you're a good old like Colin Kaepernick, whatever, that's your own individual prerogative. But to throw end racism at the end of the field as if we need to hear that, it's a no from me. But maybe this is a sign that we're moving on to greener pastures, that they're deciding to get rid of it. Maybe they're just getting rid of it because Donald Trump is going to be in the audience. Who knows? But I have a feeling that at least so far, DEI is slowly but surely finding its way out of society. And I'm breathing a sigh of relief as that happens, because it's been here for too long. And you know what? I don't think that racism is going to be on the up and up because the NFL removes these letters. In fact, I think nothing's going to happen at all. I think everything's going to be just fine. But guys, let me know how you feel about this. Are you offended that they're removing end racism from the end zone? Do you think there should be a different phrase? It's now going to be choose love, but let me know. What's a better phrase to put in the end zone to remind people? Is don't be an asshole something that you need to be reminded of when you're watching a football game? With the amount of broken TVs, domestic violence, and fights that I see after the Super Bowl, maybe y'all do need to be told not to be an asshole. But again, I don't think these phrases are particularly effective. Let's allow us to police our own thoughts, maybe, and that's how we'll deal with racism. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. As always, I encourage healthy debates. So if you disagree with anything I said in this video, do get out, but do so respectfully. And if you like this video, like, subscribe. Click the notification bell to be notified every single time I post a video for you guys, which is every single day. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Happy Super Bowl.